Hello everybody and welcome back to Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader. Finally back at the solar system screen, and it feels good. It feels good to have, honestly. So last time we did a bunch of colony management stuff, and today we're gonna be doing quite the same. We're gonna start off with just getting over, making sure everything is done with the colonies and everything, and then we're gonna move on to what we actually need to do. So Lord Captain, the Crucible's great sculpting is underway. Foulstone is being transformed right before our eyes into a fertile world with lush groves and clean water. However, there is evidence that the Crucible has also created humans. What? From the mouth of the relic came several thousand people who, speaking an archaic form of Low Gothic, demanded to be given orders. They cultivated land, built houses and production facilities with obedience, and in general have a remarkable range of skill and knowledge. However, it seems that these people completely lack their own free will. And for this, the monks have named them Touched. There's a split among the faithful, though many call it a miracle sent by the Emperor himself and want to quickly put the Touch to work. A part of the population is frightened by these soulless creatures born from an ancient machine. They demand that the planet's learned men intervene in the great sculpting and find a way to stop the production of the Touched. So we can gain +1 efficiency and -1 complacency, or we can gain +1 complacency and security and -1 efficiency, which none of these matter, in my opinion. How dangerous are these Touched? They do not appear to pose a threat. The autopsy of several specimens have shown that they are physiologically identical to ordinary humans. No traces of corruption or Xenos influence were found either. However, their obedience is a double-edged sword. They obey any orders without knowing or caring who gives them. Yikes. And thus, nothing preventing a cunning intruder from bending them to their will, creating an army of obedient slaves or spies at their disposal. What do my officers advise? They were begotten by a relic of the Saint Cognacious, which means their existence pleases the Emperor. Your people must be reminded that is so. Arrange a public ceremony of tonsure and initiate the Touched into the Order of the Hammer and a service dedicated to reading parables about the acts of Saint Cognacious and his followers. Why didn't you make the first move and assemble a mighty force from these Touched ones? If they are so obedient and diligent, then they will make fine troops. Assign a loyal commander to each squad to keep an eye on them, and these strange people will turn from into a threat into defenders of the Imperium. Lack of will. Registering a high probability of malfunctioning failure with the Crucible's sacred processes. It is recommended to dispose of the finished batch of units and halt production of new ones. The algorithm of the great sculpting requires further examination. Okay, so we can hold a public ceremony. Hold a public tonsure ceremony for the Order with a service dedicated to Saint Cognacious. We get icons of the Touched. Sacred icons painted by the Touched adorn the ship's deck. Enemy critical hit chance and warp damage against the flagship are reduced by 30%. That's pretty crazy. I shall listen to Ulfar's advice. Brigades of the Touched should be formed to serve on other planets. So we get +2 security and Crucible-born Tempest. The Touched, who were recruited as enforcers, gave form to the ancient knowledge stored in their minds by modifying the Void Ship's weapons using sacred archotech. Long-range dorsal plasma macro cannons, which fire 2 shots, dealing 26 damage per shot. Pronounce the touch the property of the Order of the Hammer. Let them continue to serve the faithful. And that's all. And in Pascal, you have permission to study the Crucible's algorithms, dispose of the touched. And then we get +1 complacency, and then we get Wisdom Extractor. All allies gain 5% armor and 5% critical hit chance. The Architect secrets extracted from the heads of the touch were given to the gunsmiths tending the road trader's armory. Ooh. I don't know. So I want to do Pascal's thing for the game buffs. But I also think Ulfar's thing is cool. And I also don't think killing them is right. But let's go ahead and do Pascal's. Dispose of the touched. No, fuck, man. I do want to keep them. Let's do security. Icons of the touched. Let's have them. Let's do this one. Hold a public tonsure ceremony with the order, with a service dedicated to Saint Pugnacious. I will draft a detailed plan of the ceremony and hand it over to the prelate. Under the guidance of the brothers and sisters of the Order of the Hammer, the touched carried on with their toils, cultivating the land and building new settlements. The public induction of the touched, along with their diligent service, eventually solidified their image in the minds of the people as the executors of Saint Pugnacious. Pugnacious' will sent to the faithful to ease their burdens during the great sculpting. Any concerns about the touch possibly posing a danger were completely dispelled. Excellent. Lord Captain, the situation on Fallstone requires your attention. One of the servants tasked with the Crucible's maintenance has declared publicly that he has been liberated of all worldly concerns, for he is none other than the reincarnation of Saint Pugnacious. There are some extremely questionable reports claiming that he has performed miracles, supported by the congregation, garnered by preaching. He has asked for your lordship's permission to depart from Fallstone with the Crucible in tow so that he may continue the saint's work and use the relic to transform worlds, one's true of faith of the Imperium into lush, splendorous gardens. It goes without saying that such a generous gift to the Chronos Expanse could bring great renown to your lordship, but at a heavy cost. Fallstone would turn back into a wasteland, and you would lose the prestige that comes with having charge over such a valuable relic. Okay. We get a bunch of shit here. Let's go ahead and see what do we do about this so-called saint reincarnation. Tibber Hike, a technomat from Footfall, he now prefers to be called Brother Purevoice, an unremarkable commoner with no family, gaunt, unkept, covered in scabs from working in the Crucible. He became obsessed with it from the day it was discovered. He never left his maintenance post, never rested, barely even slept. Fasting and living off stimulants to condensate from the relic's cooling circuit. Oh, and condensate from... Okay. He was drinking the water from the fucking thing. Then he started having revelations, and eventually saw the truth. Or he went completely insane. His sermons are directed at commoners, appealing to them for humility and mercy. He often speaks about former life as a saint, and many of these tales match known legends about Saint Pugnacious. No archaeological pronunciations or radical deviations from the creed have been found in his words yet. I want to hear the pin of my visors. I've had ample experience with saintly saviors like him in the past. Whatever great cause they proclaim as their mission, they genuinely, naively believe that people really do need them. If we round up enough orphans and lepers who would trip over themselves to beg our prophet for salvation, he will soon forget all about the Crucible and his holy mission. I know a few guilds of professional beggars who would be delighted to offer their services to us. That's crazy, dude. False prophets in the streets are a common occurrence. Their sermons breed turmoil, riots, and acts of disobedience. The Inquisition recommends that such unstable agents be isolated and quietly removed. The archenemy's lies take on many guises, but the Emperor's miracles are hundredfold stronger. On more than a few occasions, he has bestowed epiphanies upon the faithful, even those of the humblest origin. I myself bear the name of a poor orphan who was granted miraculous powers by his grace. So, give me time, and I will find you the most loyal agents to escort Brother Purevoice on his travels. They will keep him safe if he is pure, or punish him should they sense deceit in his words. But I have a feeling that his rebirth is a true wonder. The Undying One does not release the souls that have come to him. This man is either lying or misguided. An experienced spinner will help him see the truth or repent the deception. So Heinrichs, you have your agents, get rid of us troublemaker. So we get +1 complacency, -1 efficiency. And then his Ostersorium. Whether a wearer suffers an attack from demon or warp damage, they inflict 8 burning to all adjacent enemies. All burning effects inflicted by the wearer deal double damage if they target demons or psychers. Not for us. I entrust the prophet to the care of the Bloodspun Web. Let my world no longer be disturbed by his delusions. So we get the Shadow of the Undying One. 45 armor. When the wearer dodges or parries an enemy's attack, the wearer gains +4 momentum. +3 to parry and +4 to dodge against ranged attacks. It's pretty cool. Execute this dangerous agitator publicly. The colony must have order. So we get him, but we get security. Make him undergo the trial of purity. Let him die trying to prove his holiness, at least so he can stop troubling the people. Jai. Consecrated weapons. Jai, see to it that a delegation of doleful wretches keeps our Saint Cogites distracted. The Purevoice Prophet has blessed the ship's weapons. All void ship weapons, except torpedoes, deal 10% more damage. He must be inducted into the Order of the Hammer forcibly if necessary. So we get consecrated weapons, and we get security, minus complacency. Argenta, provide the Saint with an escort that will... Holy shit. That will accompany him and the Crucible on his mission. So -2 efficiency, which isn't bad. But we also get 2 profit factor. We get Emperor's Will, which is a fucking huge hammer. On a successful hit with this weapon, the target must pass a toughness resistance test with a -10 penalty or become stunned. If the target fails the test, this attack has no cooldown. Damn. Pure Voiced Flame. The Rogue Trader gains a +15 bonus to all their skills. For -2 efficiency? You bet your ass, Argenta. Holy shit. I'll get to it immediately. I will choose the best people for this task, the most devoted. Having loaded the Crucible into the requisitioned void ship, the pure-voiced prophet gathered up his flock and set out for distant worlds to spread his word. The spiritual authority of the Order of the Hammer suffered as a result, and the loss of the Crucible sowed substantial unrest among the populace. Before departing, the preacher expressed his appreciation by sending the Lord Captain a gift, a relic that, according to his own claims, once belonged to his previous incarnation. The Stern Guard, selected by Sister Argenta, vigilantly provided protection for the prophet, ensuring that his thoughts remain pure. Okay. Cool. Anything else here on this one? We have Thousand-Faced Relic. Other than that, we can't do anything. So this is the only thing that we can do on here. Costs us 3 people. Oh, Lord, what are we gonna do? Yeah, we'll take it. That's fine. Okay. That's everything, right? Everything we can. Project requirements not met, so we need plasteel here. And we need plasteel here. But then everything else is good, so we just need tons of plasteel. Which we have none. Excellent. Let's go to Janus, Lord Captain. An Ordo Xenos punitive unit, led by acolyte Lynette Zhu, has arrived on Janus. The Inquisition forces have already taken control of the governor's palace and intend to inquire into the recent anomalies on Janus. We shall trick them! Lamau? Heinrich, so why was I not notified of this arrival in advance? I am surprised that they have informed us of their arrival at all. It demonstrates a semblance of trust. How much did the Inquisition sniff out? The initial interrogations have set Lynette Zhu on the tracks of the wretches toward the anomalous region, but her people continue to dig deeper, so to speak. What do my officers advise? Cooperating with the Inquisition would do us more good than trying to hide the current misfortunes of the colony. I can send them a message to keep us informed about the interrogation as a favor. If only we could throw them a bone and let them find the evidence they want, one that can get by without the rest could be concealed away from the Inquisition's eyes, like a sand lizard shedding its tail. Sometimes one must cede the battle to win the war. Oh my god, Marazai has something to say. What the fuck? If someone were to walk around my domain so brazenly, they would certainly regret it. Lay open the trap, lace it with poison, put down the bait, and wait for the enemy to end their own worthless lives. I see only one way to make the Inquisition's sojourn on Janus's brief. The Protectorate, and give the Acolyte what she is looking for. Okay. From this moment, the Acolytes shall receive all possible assistance for their investigation. Gives me +1 security and synaptic coagulator. Okay. The wearer gains +15 intelligence. At the start of their turn, they suffer 1 direct damage. Let the Inquisition do their job. Hexagrammic Grace? +10 logic, +10 coercion, and +10 persuasion. Marazai, I'm sure you can devise a treacherous trap where our uninvited guests might perish. I order the expulsion of this impotent fools of my world. Okay. I think we just let them do their job. To serve Janus and the Valencius dynasty. After Lady Zhu had set up her headquarters at the governor's palace, she began to investigate the situation on Janus. All those feeling guilt for their crimes before the Emperor could only stay silent and pray. During her investigation, Lady Zhu was able to establish that the genetic changes in the wretches' bodies were caused by mysterious substances secreted into the water by xeno-obelisks. These substances did not contaminate the water until recently, as shown by the analysis of the Magos biologists. The same xeno-obelisks appeared to be linked by a chain of energy communications, also serving as sources of unknown radiation that seem to have caused the outbreak of contaminated growth in the currently uncontrolled sector of the planet. This also seems to be causing the appearance of the mysterious phantoms. According to the lady's theory, there may be some sort of ancient mechanical construction on Janus that has awakened from its slumber. It is possible that the anomalies occurring on the planet are merely a side effect of the blasphemous machine trying to start itself. Your lordship, a monstrous storm has broken out on Janus. Apocalyptic anomalies are testing our agri-world apart, tearing our agri-world apart, and their epicenter is in the corrupted sector. Something must be done before the whole colony is destroyed. We must find the source of this madness. Awareness 100%. Calm down and report exactly what's happening there. What should we do about this cataclysm? Or send the best enforcers to the heart of the storm. Have them find the source. Awareness text succeeded. The escort squad reports that the Emperor protects them this day. They advance through the corrupted sector with few casualties. Only rewards gain 2 chemicals, 2 provisions, and 16 experience. Our people have reached the Xenos ruins that once served as either a palace or a gargantuan machine. They have encountered a extremely high concentration of spirits. It appears the spirits are fighting amongst themselves, with 2 particularly vivid ghost figures among them. One of these prominent spirits radiates blue light and seems to be clad in Aldari armor, while the other is engulfed in purple flames and clad with Xenos ceremonial remnant. They utter sounds reminiscent of Aldari speech, but any attempts to translate them have proved unsuccessful thus far. It is an old dialect from the time before the fall. Order your warriors to aid the spirit wreathed in blue. It fights for the Lilithon's purity against the despicable sorcery. Even an echo of the spirit's voice is enough to understand that its cause is just. I can teach your people how to explain to the blue spirits that they are not their enemy. Oh, fuck this fucking guy, dude. So strange it is to hear the words of our ancestors, those who witnessed the apex of our glory. I find myself rather enjoying the words of the spirit clad in purple, no shit. That one is the Master of Delights, a commanding prince of wisdom. So much so, compelling than the pompous blue-flamed fool. Have your servants support the purple-sheathed one, and I will tell them the right words to stop the purple phantoms from slaughtering them. What does it matter what those spirits are babbling about? They both must be slain. At the vapor? Turn your warriors and inspire them to fight for their home to the very last. They have already made sacrifices to get this far, so remind them what those sacrifices were for. Ooh. Tell the people to support the blue spirit Iliad. Jesus Christ. Make sure the men know the right words. My people will enter the fray on the side of the purple spirit's Marzai and see to it that they come to an understanding with the phantoms. Tell my warriors that they are fighting for Janus's future, one where the world is free of the vengeful Xenos, and their Lord Captain is watching. I'm ordering them to attack the spirits of both kinds. Do not engage. Maintain visual contact. No, we're gonna go with her. The scouts attacked. Destroying the purple spirits one after another, the blue phantoms recognized their new allies and did not harm them. Once the battle was over, the dignified spirit, swathed in blue flames, reached out to the scouts' thoughts, granting them visions. Lilithon's Fury. Holy shit. An exotic knife. God damn. The planet, which was inhabited by Eldari prior to the fall, at some point became one of the many theaters of the war between sensual excess and dogma that reigned over the Xenos of that time. And Ekestic? Esticate? Anyway, self-reverent. A local ruler, Kessie, was enlightened and wise, yet susceptible to depravity. In his desire to transform his soul into another form of existence, he created a mechanism that would let him take over the bodies and minds of his people. One of the ruler's bodyguards, named Halcyon, rose against the tyrant and mortally wounded him, but could not stop him from merging with the machine. Halcyon then gave his life to bind his own spirit to the device and continue fighting therein. This tragic conflict marked the end of all Eldari on the planet, but preserved an echo of their souls and those of their leaders. So this knife, when the wielder deals damage to a target with the knife, the target becomes blinded until the end of combat. The first attack with this knife in a round against the blinded target does not set the attack on cooldown. Epic. When the spirits disappeared, the spirits disappeared, but for how long? The bodies of the fallen and the strange relic discovered amid the ruins were the only proof that for a single day, Janus was once more engulfed in a war between long-fallen Xenos. Shit, I didn't mean to click on Key of a Damn. Anyway, Lord Captain, there has been an act of sabotage on Kiava Gamma. The cult of the Final Dawn has invaded the planet, cultivating a pack of systematical in the bowels of the manufactorums and set them upon us. The attack was so sudden that we almost lost all the workshops, but we had help. Some entities, already being called data angels, have invaded the cogitational network, seized the cogitators and servitors, and used them to repel the first onslaught of the schematicals. Now, there's a fierce struggle taking place all over the planet. The noosphere of the world is boiling. Fortunately, we received information about the impending attack at the last moment. The signal was intercepted in the warp by Cubus Delphim's machine. Shit. How did the cultists infiltrate my world? This was part of the coordinated attack that hit the entire expanse. The heretics must have been preparing for a long time. What do we know about these data angels? Not much. They are machine spirits being born from the art of data smithing. They charge into battle chanting the same binaric mantra that the participants of Procedure 0-C chanted. They act from within the cogitational nodes linked in the cells used by Procedure 0-C, successfully driving the schematicals out of neighboring sectors. If we can get their support, we can definitely pry the manufactorums from the corruption's grasp. I wish to hear my officers and advisors. Manufactorums of Kiava Gamma are equipped with backup cogitators to ensure the continuity of production in an emergency. The severity of the situation authorizes the disruption of the service algorithms, and I am prepared to sanction a ritual that will allow the data angels of the Omnissiah to absorb the Cogitator's computing power to combat these wicked spirits. I would trust those uninvited allies of you. I wouldn't trust those uninvited allies of yours. The magnanimity is want to come with unsavory intentions. Learn more about these creatures. Order your servants to hunt one of them down, torture it, and gain knowledge through the process, since they are incapable of finding pleasure in it. The tactics playbook for putting down planet-wide revolts has just the thing for this. We begin by ordering a series of cascading power blackouts, thereby forcing the cultists to redeploy their troops away from any manufactorums that have gone offline. The data angels are sure to follow them. The schematicals will respond by trying to gain control of the power distribution hubs, where the tech priests will have set traps to eliminate all the intruders. Ballistic skill 100%. So let's see, we got +1 security and data spirit extinguisher. Machine creatures, Necrons, and creatures with the reject the flesh feature suffer 10% more damage from the rogue traders and their allies' attacks. Ooh, that's pretty good. Or I can get binary dissector. Allies' attacks ignore 10% armor and deflection from machine creatures, Necrons, and targets with the reject the flesh feature. And then this, Pascal, Blessing of the Data Angels. All allies gain +5 perception and 10% armor penetration. May metal never betray the master whose deeds please the Omnissiah. So I have a 90% here for this one, which I'm kind of feeling. Because this one is what? It's 5 perception and 10% armor penetration. This one is 10% more damage. I think we do Pascal's. Good. The request to perform the sacrament is accepted and will be fully implemented. Having gained access to the cogitational reserves, and after being infused with power, the data angels charged at the schematicals. The hordes of data spirits were tech exercised and exterminated, and the afflicted machines purged and restored. The tech priest gave praise to the Omnissiah for protecting the production algorithm from severe disruption. After banishing the schematicals, the data angels withdrew into hiding inside the cogitational networks, leaving the servants of the Omnissiah to guess at who or what these beings were. Oh my god. I need to take a drink, hold on. Oh my god. Okay. Your lordship, a cryptic message arrived from Kieva Gamma. The fabricator sensor reports that they have beheld the eye of the divine. I requested details from you, from your less devout servants, and they clarified that the inquest group, which had been investigating the many inexplicable events that have taken place on the planet, followed a trail of mysterious binary harmonics and came upon an ancient and abandoned data complex. It is connected to the Manufactorum by a maze of communication lines and contains a gargantuan data loom. The mechanism's markings show that its designation, or should I say its rather menacing name, is Null Caliph. Null Caliph is immersed in sacred astragational calculations and has shown no inclination to make contact. The tech priests that connected to it were punished for their intrusion with a lethal injection of motive force. The only thing they managed to find out is that the spirit of the data loom is not bound with the vows of complacence or compliance that would normally restrain a machine spirit to such power. This astoundingly mighty entity bows to no one, driven only by its own aims. Make contact with it. I wish to form an alliance. Kaja Simulacrum EF Ultima Octesiminum. 25 logic. The wearer gains the Solve Simulacrum ability. That costs 3 AP and can grant the wearer a permanent paradox solved feature. What? Solve Simulacrum. The character must pass a logic skill test with a negative 167 penalty. On success, this ability is removed and the cogitator is destroyed. The 25 bonus logic is lost, and the character permanently gains the paradox solved feature. Paradox solved. This character can use their heroic act regardless of their momentum without spending momentum. Holy shit, that's pretty crazy. +1 security. Or cogitation boards. +5 torpedo speed. May the signal run free over the wires. May the ocular eye be forever clear. May the enemies of the Omnissiah be cast down. What do my advisors think? I think he's just gonna do it. The Great Machine Spirit that identifies itself as now Null Caliph bears potential as a valuable ally. One that could replace the need for navigators compromised of fallible flesh. We must make contact with this holy entity, for to do so is the honor of the Omnissiah's tenants. That the tech priest who had their audacity to disturb Null were deprived of their motive force is a testament to the might of this data voice. I hold the knowledge to create a mediator that could interface with the fearsome machine spirit and ease the burden of its revelations on unprepared minds. If it stares into the warp, then it's vulnerable to attacks from the warp. Never thought I'd even suggest something like this, but if we want to make that machine obey us, we should assault it through the Immaterium. A navigator data loom? This abomination makes a mockery of every navigator house's legacy. The fact that its existence is profoundly sickening and vile. Null must be destroyed post-haste. Allow me to send word to the other navigator houses. They will waste no time in dispatching their forces to destroy this monstrosity. Okay. So we get its cogitation boards for the torpedo speed. We get +1 security. Adira, we get +1 security. Here we get this cool thingy, mabob, that we're never going to use. Here we also get this cool thingy mabob that we're never going to use. I think we just give it to Cassia. Yeah, destroy it. Okay. That was weird that it just kind of went away. Let's go there. Okay, so we don't have anything here, correct? We've got the 2 that we can't do. Excellent, because we need plasteel. Here, we have a ton that we can do. So we can do this for profit factor complacency. We have this for dogmatic. Fang of perdition. Sure. 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 So that's all well and good. Okay. Everything else is done, correct? Correct. Give a gamma. Go here. Everything here is done. Gargonis. Terrible news from Gargonis, your lordship. Your vigilant servants have discovered an absence of treachery in our capital world. One that has grown far too large and could rupture at any moment. The informants report that the group known as the Foreman clan is actually a cover for Herodias cult, a Herodias cult of genetic aberrations, who currently have their people in every echelon of the hive. They are traitors to the purity of humanity, traitors to the creed, rebels, and heretics. Apparently, their unholy sermons speak of 3 sorrowful phalanges of the finger pointing the way to retribution and unity. Okay. What exactly did my people find out? Oh, the Gene Stealer cult behind the rebellion of the cat. Okay, cool. One tenacious clerk from the Administratum questioned the authenticity of the reports coming from the ruins of whatever. He personally observed the debris removal and entered the lower levels of the fallen hive. There, he discovered signs that proved the thing had been infected by a gene plague. Thousands of corpses of extra-armed abominations had been buried in a mass grave. He also found the remains of Scanner's people. Okay. It seems they had already noticed the signs of corruption, and the traitors aimed to cover up their crimes, buried their misdeeds under the ruins of the hive. On the way back, the clerk's transport was destroyed, but he miraculously managed to survive. Now the heretics think that they have covered their own tracks once more, and they can continue their plots oblivious and unprepared for our attack. What is this mutant plague that has affected our capital? A horrendous distortion of the human form. It seems that they spread their poison by biting and enslaving their victims. Some of them are indistinguishable from normal humans, while others are disgustingly ugly. The heretics hide them away from prying eyes. They seem to be connected to a common consciousness and are absolutely loyal to this despicable cult. The astropathic choir master of Dargonis has suggested that the cult may be behind the extermination of the Psychers on the planet. He can sense the ghost of the powerful consciousness of some sort. Sanctioned Psychers we have gathered on Dargonis have prepared for a psychic engagement. They are disciplined, powerful, fearless, and will remain unwavering against the blows of our sinister enemy. Foreman Clan is a cover for a disgusting cult? Indeed. They probably began by recruiting workers. It is easy to blend in with the laboring riffraff. Posing as a union of technomats, they were able to conceal their secret operations and infiltration into the upper echelons of power. Even new crisis allowed them. Each new crisis allowed them to gain more of our trust and resources. And most despicable of all is that they have perverted our faith. They revere the God Emperor in the form of a 4-armed monstrosity. Their prayers are full of hatred towards those in power and promises of a reckoning when their dreadful deity will come and equate them with their oppressors. With us, that is. Many fools and troublemakers have fallen for their lies. By letting them infiltrate the other hives, we allowed them to spread like an epidemic. Now their cult has cells everywhere. The death cults that have sprung up through the intercession of the Bloodstone Web have gotten wind of the trouble and sent quite a few misguided parishioners to the Undying One, depriving the heretics of some recruits. Heinrichs, what are those mutants? They are called gene stealers, and they are not simple mutants. They are a Xenos plague that breeds inside the human brain, forever distorting their genetic makeup and enslaving them to their brood. This is much more threatening than a Drukhari fleet that ravaged the capital earlier. If they are on Dargonis, then they will try to take over the entire planet sooner or later. The messengers of the Great Devourer. My kin can sense the shapeshifters, but you should stay vigilant, Alontok. For a species as psychically weak as Monkey, their arrival must spell death. What forces do they have at their disposal? The heretics mostly consist of workers, but some have infiltrated the Guard as well. Their weapons are primarily made from repurposed industrial machinery. The cultists are fearless and will readily sacrifice themselves for the sake of their common goal. But the worst part is their psychic threat. We cannot even begin to gauge it. Some of the engine vandals could be infected by the plague, and most of them are more likely to come to our aid. They are too used to eating out of your lordship's hand to bite it. We have to act. Absolutely right. It is impossible to negotiate with these degenerates. Our only option is the complete annihilation of them. We should start from the top. Should we attack decisively and quickly, or should we show our hand by bringing assault vehicles into the capital and gain an advantage in firepower? Do we quietly eliminate their leaders, or do we rain destruction upon the infected territories and cleanse them of traitors? Wilbur, raise the people to battle, publicly proclaim war. Tell the people that the heretics are hiding amongst them, and the millions of loyal subjects will grind the thousands of traitors to dust. May Dargonis cleanse itself of this filth. Marzai's caustic laugh sends shivers down your spine. Jesus. Let others sully their hands. Just one beacon, and my kinsmen will descend upon the affected hives. Perhaps they will cause some additional casualties here and there, but have no doubt none of your enemies will survive, even hiding in their little nests. The cleansing should be thorough. A good few wrecks of dead ships still linger in orbit after the day the Xenoscum attacked your world. Command your fleet to pick them up and send them plummeting towards the nests of the spawn trying to encroach on your dominion. Jesus Christ, we're doing it. Whatever it is, we're doing it. Since all of them are linked by a common will, they will start by launching our attack there. And the astropathic choir could drown out the voices of the brood. We would be able to launch a sudden strike and act quickly enough before the enemy could restore cohesion, and alert their forces to the assault. Argenta is right. We will announce to the people that there's an enemy in our midst. They should come to our aid to enforcers who will be attacking in full force. Xenos, Heinrichs, prepare a plan for a psychic attack. After that, we shall launch a surprise assault on the cultist headquarters. Marazai, we shall feed the heretics to your kinsmen, and then we shall finish off the disorganized enemy. I like Ulfur's plan. We shall do as the Emperor's angel said. Let us crush the infected sector from orbit. Honestly, I like this plan the most. A psychic attack. It's pretty cool. I will send the Inquisition's directives developed specifically for this scenario to Dargonis. At the appointed time, the enforcers started their simultaneously raids in all the hives of the capital. Relying on stealth and surprise, they did not use heavy weapons of war. At the same time, the Astropathic Choir launched a truly devastating attack on the grim psychic shadow hanging above the hives of Dargonis. This attack stunned the broods of heretics and temporarily cut off their psychic communication. But the heretics did not go down without a fight. Soon, an enraged outcry of psychic energy from the brood swept through the hives, plunging the dynasty's brave warriors into horror and bloody insanity. The Astropathic Choir managed to drown it out with their menacing chants, but this was a test of wills, and only the most disciplined and steadfast psychers withstood its sheer force. The element of surprise facilitated the swift extermination of the cult's leaders, leading the rest of the heretics to lose heart. The filthy shrines of the heretics were set ablaze. Tainted Phylactery. Wielder gains plus 19 critical hit chance against Xenos. Only one thing filled the rogue trader's servants with unease. Inside the cult's main temple, they found a den of some grotesquely enormous monster. It was empty. They did not find the beast. If the Emperor had been merciful to Dargonis, the monster would surely have perished in the fires that had engulfed the hives during that cycle. Okay. Okay, so yes. Janus is a yes, right? Okay, everything good there. Kieva Gamma, yes. Everything's good there. Dargonis. We have... Okay, we're good on Dargonis. And then Vebos. Ah, we do have some on Vebos that we need to take care of. Oh, and we didn't even do this. So let's see what we want here. Voice of Paduvian, which is a big cool sword. Plus 10 intelligence, fellowship, and willpower. I need plasteel for that one. Okay. Okay, so I need plasteel. I need tons and tons of plasteel in order to get the... So Earthbreaker, Witch's Last Cry. What did that say? Oh yeah, the combat stem. Chemicals, plasteel 3. Love that. Plasteel 6. Love that. Now we have 18 plasteel. So let's go here. We should have this one available, which is the one I want. Completed the highest tier colony on each of your colonies, I'm assuming. Yeah. So, Foulstone. Do we have enough to do... We do, but do we have enough to do both? So 4 plasteel here, and 4 here. The answer is yes. Their answer is actually yes. Crazy. Okay. Lord Captain Vebos 4 begs for help. Something terrible prowls the planet. Searching for a way to wipe out the planet's inhabitants. Victims died in small groups at first, so they dismissed it as simple accidents. A poisoning, a crashed transport, a fire, but the death toll has started to rise, and explaining everything as mere coincidence is no longer an option. The enemy appears to be testing our different methods of killing your subjects. Like it's looking for the most effective way to murder as many of them as possible, at once as possible. Our pick traps sometimes catch sight of a blurry dark shadow walking among the people, but no one has actually seen it with their own eyes. Any ideas? The art of hunting relies on the art of hiding. You cannot see your target, then make it so that the target cannot see you. Deceive its senses and seize your opportunity. The predator walks among your people. Well, then it's time we became predators ourselves. The servants can't see it and don't know where its lair lies, but I will tell you how to find it. You need to spark the beast's curiosity. Leave something it craves out in the open and mark it so that you can just can track the beast as it's carrying the bait away in its jaws. That is how we hunt cunning prey on Fenris. Ha! You call it your enemy, but you are mere pests in its eyes. This isn't a war, this is an extermination. You are a nuisance, and that is your asset. Understand what it is you do that vexes it so much, and you will understand how to drive it mad. All that will be left then is to lay a trap. So, idiots right. Makes a good point. Find some effective disguise against our foe and wait for it to strike. Ulfar's advice is sound. We will leave bait for our enemy, or he's right. Set a series of traps and provoke it to attack. Let's do this one. The hunters find patience. The colony's wardens experimented with several means of disguise, but did eventually succeed in hiding themselves from the eyes of the mysterious foe. The warden, whose unfortunate lot it was to keep watch inside of an air purifier, spotted a strange shadow right between the working mechanisms and the lead cover. The enemy had grown careless and finally revealed itself. The brave warden raised the alarm, wounded the creature, and fell in battle, but his comrades managed to chase the beast away. Cornered in its den, the monster fought its final battle and was slain. It was a terrifying Xenos with a metallic skeletal body and a single emerald eye. It was a Necron. Its lair turned out to be a crypt-like chamber, and beneath it was an entire fortress buried in stone. The walls were covered in glyphs similar to the mysterious patterns that the mad convicts had been drawing. Ancient xenomechanism. Whenever the wearer ends their turn, they deal 9 energy damage with 45 armor penetration to all adjacent creatures. If the number of damaged creatures exceeds 3, the wearer suffers the staggered effect. The chamber also contained the dissected remains of missing miners. The Omnissiah's servants studied their bodies, the crypt, and the Xenos corpse, hypothesizing that the Inhuman belonged to a caste of sages among its kind. It had remained in stasis for ages untold, but had recently been awakened either by the mining efforts or the explosions caused by the Drukhari invaders. After killing everyone who had approached its lair, the creature tried to wake its brethren, but millennia of tectonic shifts have crushed the underground fortress. The creature was alone. The fearsome insects, the ones that assailed the colony, were the only tool the Xenos had left, so it chose to lie in wait. But when the heretics of the Final Dawn sabotaged the fortress's reactor in the attempts to destroy the planet, the Xenos grew restless and started searching for a way to exterminate the humans. Now, the last Xenos survivor was dead, and so was its entire race, not true. Or, at least, so prayed every denizen of Vabos 6. Oh my god, guys, I think we did it. Holy shit, a whole other episode of just reading bullshit. Janus is the only one that's not at 10 efficiency, which is crazy. Everything else is maxed out. Insane. Well, we need to go to Vabos 6. So, where the fuck is Vabos 6? I do not recall. Let's see here. So we have Footfall we need to go to for, yeah, go to Footfall. We need to go here to go to the world Quinsant Tamer. This one should be Visit Dargonis. This one is reach the system mentioned in Amelia's things. Vebos here. Ooh, yeah. No, we're not doing all that. We can jump a bit, I think. We do need to go there immediately, though. I don't know if we visit Dargonis. And what do we have over here? Dead Man's Chest. And we have a bunch of little bullshit. Oversized asteroid, a rare find, visions of the dark. Yeah. So let's go here. Lord Captain, there's an emergency at the officer's deck. Numerous victims lost of communication. The Voidsmen report warp voices filling the compartments, but this is not a warp breach. This is a Xenos you took aboard at Janus. He has gone mad and went on a rampage. I have two fairly reliable witness accounts. According to one, the Xenos suddenly assaulted the crew members, gutting them seemingly at random. The other claims that there are survivors who barricaded themselves in adjacent compartments. The enforcers managed to isolate the raving Xenos in a dead end, but they have been unable to pacify him so far. What will your orders be? Such are the consequences of ill-considered actions born out of lack of faith to the God Emperor's laws. I'm ready to stop the accursed Xenos' rampage personally and repay every life he has taken. Why am I not surprised? His voice is oozing with poison. Rogue Trader, we cannot bring back your subjects, and we will gladly aid you in disposing of the rabid creature before it mauls even more people. The Vox channel relays a thin sigh full of realization of fright. Elantok, I know what the reason behind Marazai's madness is. Please, I must accompany you to the compartment. I will help you deal with the Dark One. What the fuck? I'm going to the officer deck immediately. You're like, explain your words. Can no one do anything right without me? Vent the officer's deck compartment into space. Explain your words. Iliet. Do you remember what happened during my first voyage aboard your ship? When I found myself beyond the veil, the servants of She Who Thirsts descended upon me, the fragile shell that is protecting your vessel, from the outside horrors and managed to break through. The soul of the Eldari shines like a beacon in the night, drawing the gaze of and stoking her thirst. Though stroking is apt. The ways the Assyrian keep us safe from her claws, but the Dark Ones never sought to restrain their desires for excess and pleasure in order to acquire at least some protection against the eternal enemy. When the voices of She Who Thirsts call out to me, I found refuge in meditation. I think Marazai started feeding his withered soul instead, using the only method he knew. I'm going to the officer's deck immediately. A squad of enforcers who had blocked the Xenos in the dead-end corridor is waiting at the deck. I beg you to be careful, Lord Captain, and may the God Emperor watch over you. Okay. So we can't take Marazai with us, funny enough. But we are going to take Solomorn. I think Abelard, Cassia, Cabela, Iliet, Solomorn. I think that's our crew. And then we just need to level up Solomorn. And then from there, we can have a fun time with Marazai. Because he's just being a little dickhead and needs to stop. Okay. Abelard also needs to level up. Meet the survivors of the deck, very first wardrobe. Okay. Oh, okay. So it was supposed to happen on the very first warp jump with the Drukhari on board. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at Solomorn here. We want ballistic skill is pretty good. I think. Fellowship is also good. We'll take ballistic skill. And then we will take... once per turn, the arbitrator can throw a grenade that does not deal damage on impact. That action costs 0 AP and does not count towards the attack turn limit. Toughness is equal half to shield block. That's pretty good. As long as the arbitrator has more than 90% wounds, they are immune to the following negative effects. Interesting. Public sentencing. When an enemy adjacent to the arbitrator fails a willpower resistance test for the first time in a round, enemy provokes an attack of opportunity from the arbitrator. If multiple enemies fail this test at the same time, the attack of opportunity is triggered against one of them randomly. With a one-handed shock baton and a one-handed power maul equipped, the arbitrator gains +10 parry and reduces the weapon skill of enemies hit with this weapon by 10 until the end of combat does not stack. This weapon also deals 25% more critical damage. Huh. A one-handed shock baton and a one-handed maul. That's funny. I don't think we're ever going to be doing that. Let me see here. We can get ballistic skill again. We can get toughness, too. I think we take toughness. Controlled shot, entrench, rapid fire, burst attack, we don't use. Entrench was interesting. Dash. Immediately dashes in a selected direction, spending all their movement points. Does not provoke attacks of opportunity. Allows the soldier to dash through enemies and allies, but not through obstacles or controlled shot. Soldier gives a sign that they are about to open fire. The soldier and their allies will automatically dodge the next attack. That's really good to have. We had that on Argenta, and it was life-saving. So, we do demolitions on him. And from here... Oh. Familiar's maximum wounds are increased by 45%. What is that regarding? Tech use divided by 2 plus 30. Damn. Okay. Autonomous protection algorithms. In combat, the familiar gains +1 deflection for each cell between it and the overseer, up to a maximum of 5. I think that's pretty good, because we're very far away from each other all the time. Arbates physical training. I was looking at that one. That one was interesting. Side by side, while the overseer and the familiar are adjacent, we don't want that. Hits the same target right after the cybermassive in battle mode standby hits it. The overseer's attack always score a critical hit. At the start of the overseer's turn, the familiar gains 8 temporary wounds. I like that. Familiar's key characteristics are increased by 5. Ability is used on an ally, can be the overseer. For 1 round, that ally gains characteristics. We don't really do that. Chain Maw. Okay. Each subsequent hit scored by the cybermassive against an apprehended enemy deals +0 familiar strength bonus, more damage. Stacks reset when apprehended is used again. I mean, we can take that. I don't know why it says 0, because familiar strength bonus, but he should have a lot of strength, right? Let's go to your thingy here. What is your strength bonus? Your strength bonus is +8, bro. I don't know why it said +0. You're stupid. Get out of here. You dummy. Let's go ahead and upgrade Abelard as well. We want strength on him. We want... I already took strength and toughness. Weapon skill, I guess. Not seeing anything else that I want. Arc rifle, that's right. Nimble to dodge. Power armor proficiency. Allows where I use power armor. I take. Because we do have that cool power armor. Taunting Scream I'll take on him. This Taunting Scream's amazing. We want athletics, right, on him? Yeah, he's super athletic. Is there anything else? 72, Karuz is... Oh, shit. That's super good. What the hell? I guess we were pumping that and I forgot. Negative 140. What do you mean, brother? What's your tech use? Okay, we'll take that. Gains +15 willpower as long as they have no ranged weapons equipped. Staves do not count as ranged weapons. Contagion. Pressing Assault. First melee attack each round deals an additional 2 damage for every cell between the character's current position and the spot where they started from. The distance is measured in a direct line, ignoring all terrain, with every second diagonal cell counting as 2. That's interesting. Plus do damage for every cell, especially if we're getting in there, dude. Reduces the target's armor until the end of combat. I like that. The target's pushed by a character collide. No. During the first turn of combat, this character has an additional 2 action points. Interesting, interesting. Let's look to see if any... No. Character gains an additional 12 wounds. Those wounds are further increased by toughness, increased by blah, 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 in the same way basic wounds are. I think we take that. And then what do we want here? On your feet. Force distraction. I don't think I have that. I do have it. I don't know why. What is force distraction? Vanguard, choose an ally. All enemies in a 3-cell radius around that must make a willpower resistance test. On a failed test, the Vanguard becomes their priority target. Okay, yeah, that's good. Next attack made by an ally under the effect of force distraction gains 3 movement points. Not really worth it, TBH. Allies affected by any of the Vanguard's abilities gain 5 armor for 1 round. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Whenever the Vanguard's ally is in a 2-cell radius around them are hit, Vanguard gains that ability, grants that ally 3 temporary wounds once per round for each ally. Now grants an addition 10 temporary wounds to all targets. That's crazy, I love that. That's crazy, I love that. Well, hell yeah, brother. We're in it now, we're back. We're back in better than ever. Oh yeah, he did some slurring. He did some slurring. He do be slurring. Alright, well, next time, we're actually gonna go see what's up with this chuckle fuck. Dude. Crazy that there was so much to do with the colonies. I'm so surprised. I talked for a long ass time, and I didn't get to. I didn't get to say any of my words. You know, that's funny. But yeah, next time we're probably going to be talking to Marzai, seeing what's going on with his warp jump bullshit, and he better not do this every time because I cannot afford that many people. And we are on our way to Vabos 6 in order to do whatever the fucking mission is up there. And then hopefully we can go and do our own shit. I'll see you in the next one.